Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to Slydog Racing on the Thursday evening. We are on round 5 this evening. Ignore what the description says. It must not have updated when I updated the stream on the way in. But yes, so here we are. We're going to be doing Bahrain short tonight. So yeah, we've mainly got cones paving the way rather than that after following the Monday boys. So we're going to be going live very shortly. I think the gents are just readying up now, but I just quickly need to sort something out, as Mr. Morales is saying he might have some issues with the old ping this evening. Where is he? Right, there we go. Perfect. Anyway, back to racing again as always. If anyone's watching, anyone's ready to say hello, I will be here for the whole evening. We're doing 100% race, I believe, as it's Bahrain short. Most of the lap times here are just under, well, between a minute two, particularly in the beginning. But I imagine towards the end of the race, you'll be looking at the low 1 minutes, maybe even under that, into the old 50s. So just while waiting for everything to load up today, we're just going to go through what happened last week. So I can tell you we're going to be looking at the championship standings to start us off. So it seems to be a little bit of a common feature at the moment, where on the feature race specifically, we've got Aaron in the AlphaTauri, who's currently leading the way with 68 points. Then we've got in second, we've got a new person moving into second as Dunners replaces James Punt after he had a couple. I think he had a DNF last week and didn't have the best of race weeks, shall we say. But he's not too far out of the picture. Dunners is on 61 points, so just 7 behind Aaron. So that does keep it very interesting, at least for the short term. And hopefully they'll be continuing to battle it out for the rest of the season. And then we've got James Punt, as I mentioned before, on 49 points. His teammate in the other racing point, ZGS, is on 34. And we've got Pressing Mixer in 30. So I'm just going to mention Butters here, as it is his birthday. So I just want to say happy birthday to Butters. Hopefully he's having a lovely evening. He won't be racing tonight, as I imagine he's probably going to be having a few drinks or something. I mean, surely we're more important than just a traditional birthday, but, you know, each to their own and all that. So we're just about to start. There's a few people missing tonight, so we've only got, I believe, 14 or 13 racers on. So that will give quite a few people who haven't really picked up many points so far this season a chance to get on, get a few more points on. So specifically on the Thursday, on the features race, we've got Joseph Morales, Mad G, unfortunately not with us this evening, Error, and all on 0 points at the moment. So they might be able to get a chance to get some handy points as a result of a few people not being here today. But as always, let me know how you're thinking. If there's any early doors predictions, then I'd like to hear about it. While we're on the subject of the Bahrain Short Grand Prix, it's a bit of an interesting one. Obviously, short tyre degradation as a result of, you know, less track. There's not very many corners here. I think you're looking at about 5 or 6 turns pretty much within this circuit. But obviously don't quote me on that. So I imagine a lot of people are going to be getting away with tyre wear. So you might see a few people going from maybe soft to hard. Might start on the softs and go into the hard. Or if they're feeling if they're feeling like they're really generous, they might actually go with mediums to hard and go out for the rest of the race. Now, I think soft to hard will probably be the best bet for this one, based on the fact that I tried doing it on the Monday and it didn't really work out. There is obviously an option of a 2-stopper here as well, so they could decide to go soft, medium and just constantly attack the pack. As always, T. Keeley here, as always, late, as always as well, worth noting that hour. Avon in top 3, 1 beer on it. I'm not feeling so confident with that one today, so although he is going to be starting near the back of the field today, there's less people for him to overtake for a start. It's a short race, it's a 100% race. And I know he's good round here, so I mean, I guess I've got to back myself, haven't I, really, Tom? I'm gonna have to back myself and say, do you know what? Screw you. Yeah, but let's continue this bet on. Let's take that, and I'll bet you a beer on it. Maybe I'll send you one for your birthday or something over this weekend. But bearing in mind you're our #1 fan these days on the Slydog Racing channel, don't think you've missed a race all season, have you? Monday or Thursday, he's always appearing. Right, let's set ourselves up so that we're not missing out on everything to begin this race. Let's get... So, just going to go very quickly through the lineup while the guys just line up to the rest of the field here. So, you've got Era 6 starting at first with Murph in second. You've then got Trem in third. Fourth even. Albert in third, apologies. And then we've got Blumchum, who's back with us this week. And I'm not going to stop you there because we're literally going to be starting very, very shortly. And straight away, and we're off straight away here. As you see the guys going down into the first turn. This has always been a bit of a carnage centre one, so people are going to need to be careful as they come down to this first section. Era's just keeping the lead. Did you see the AlphaTauri go completely all over the place there? He's gone very wide, which has allowed Murph to take the lead. We've got a little bit of a turn going on, and Trem flying straight in second place. Although, wow, he's just been completely taken out there by somebody. We'll have to come back onto that. Looks like it could be Murph. 5-second penalty already from Joseph Morales for gaining a place while corner cutting. Normally you'll get away with a warning, but if you overtake and gain an advantage there, you tend to lose out at the same time. So, list is all flying around at the moment. Lots going on within this first lap. Era has managed to keep himself on top at the moment, with Blumchum in 1.5 seconds behind him. So, he's done really well to get up into second place there. He started really solid today. Riley, I don't even know how, but he's up from second to last, up to fourth. Already making my bet look bad. Not happy about this at all, but, you know, it is what it is. Just going to move back slightly. As you can just see that Riley's having a bit of a go here with Willis, who actually looks like Preston Mixer is currently ghosting, which isn't helpful. My hero. Indeed, mate, indeed. And we got Hinderboy currently in 6th, who was solid last week, managed to get himself on a podium, but I think both times actually, on the feature and the sprint race. I'm not really going to keep an eye too much on the standings here, just because we know it's going to, and here it is, right on cue. So we know that Era 6 is currently leading the way. I'm just going to keep on board with them for the moment, just while we wait for this to actually rectify itself out. Joseph Morales is in the pits at the moment. Obviously, he must have some contact there. So we're going to have to wait for Code Models to basically sort their shit out, which we do every race. But as you can look at the graphic there, you can just see that Era is actually in the lead. And it looks like Blumchum is still in second, although he looks like he's under pressure here from Riley early doors. He's on the better tyre compound here. He started on the softs there, I think, Riley. So it makes sense that he would steam on past that Haas with there on the mediums. I don't know whether or not he might be thinking of a one-stopper Blumchum there, but he might get away with it. Like I mentioned earlier, on the Monday I managed to do it myself, but that was only on a 50% race, so it just depends how hard he's going to be on the tyres. You can just see Preston Mixer flying over the back of Wolsey at the moment. So I'm going to ride on board with him with the DRS that's now been enabled. Obviously Preston Mixer very much a solid driver on these weekdays. Okay, so we can see that Blumchum's down into third after him obviously tangling with Riley. You've got Preston Mixer who's just gone round the outside of Wolsey to take 4th position. Very nicely done there. I'll just get the spectator view up so we can have a little look at all of this. Right, so we've got a large contrast of tyres so far this evening. As you can just see Preston Mixon now jumping up into 3rd place as he gets around Blumchum on the inside there. Very nicely done from the Ferrari driver. But Blumchum's still going really strong here. I mean, he's on the medium tyre, so he's going to be under attack by a lot of these guys on the softs. I can just see Wolsey there. He's going to try and retake the place. And he has done some of these. Obviously, with this realistic... with all the realistic car performances, he's really going to struggle against some of those top performers. So he's really going to have to race the wheels off that Haas if he wants to stay in and around the current players. But in saying that though, Wolsey's just gone wide there, allowing him just to close up the gap a little bit. You've now got Dunners currently in 6th on his usual medium tyre compound. I imagine he's going to be having a go at him very shortly, but What he is happy with at the moment, is he doesn't mind if he's going to get DRS on the back of him, because he's also getting DRS in the car in front, so they basically cancel each other out at the moment. So let's just have a little look at the rest of the field here. So we've got Murph, currently the two Red Bulls in 7th and 8th place, so we're going to be fighting over position very shortly. And you've also got ZGS and Hinder Boy in 9th and 10th behind them. Hinder Boy seems to have picked up a penalty here. It looks like Morales has lost his penalty, so he must have served that in the pits. We're just going to stay on board with Murph for the time being here, just because we've got a nice little view of the little fight between Murph, Willis and Dunners going into that main straight. I mean, that Red Bull powered engine is going to be very, very quick on the straights here, so I can't imagine he's going to get outpaced by anyone if he also has DRS. But he is ghosting for some reason, so not too sure why that is. Oh, excuse me. So, Trem's at the back of the course at the moment. He looks like he's just pitted for the medium tyre. He must have picked up some wing damage from that first lap or second lap issue. You just see Murph going really wide there. Just about managing to hold it together, but he is under fire now. And he's going to be very, very much under pressure by the two cars behind him. So, again, a bit of ghosting going on here. Not too sure what's going on there. But he is going to take the position by the looks of it. So ZGS has moved up into 8th place at the moment. Willis and Blumton are also still fighting at the moment. Let's just move on to them for a minute. Everything's going on in the middle of this pack at the moment. It looks like the guys in front are having a little bit of a gap between each other, just trying to potentially maybe now might be the time to start nursing those softs, just to make sure they go that extra little bit longer, because soft to hard is the preferred strategy for this. But there is other options. If they can eat those softs out, maybe go onto the mediums, or they might decide to go onto the mediums, they go back onto the soft for a second stint. I'm not really sure which is the fastest way around here, in fairness, because it could be either or. I'm just going to look here as well, just moving slightly further up, Dunners is right on the back now, Wolsey. So again, he's on the medium tyre to start, which is an interesting start. It's an interesting choice to start on the medium, so he might go medium, go long, and he's obviously just had to back out there because Willis has just got an absolute slipstream on him, and he might overtake both the drivers here. What an excellent move. He's managed to overtake both of them, but Dunners isn't going to give up that position lightly. So they're just going to go, they're going to be close as they come into this corner, but it looks like the Red Bull's got it done. Well played to him. Obviously, everyone's expected to keep gunning out of that first corner. I mean, I must admit, I'm not a massive fan of the short track here. Only really raced here once or twice, and that was literally just because we had the race on the Monday. And I'm pretty sure that showed in my performance, as I finished quite lowly down. But again, all the drivers here on a Monday and a Thursday are generally pretty decent. I'm just going to move back here, as I know it's close here, but Blumchump's really, really close to the back of Murph as well at the moment, so I just want to make sure that we keep an eye on that. Because he has got ZGS for company, and ZGS is, if he doesn't get him here, which he might not do, see, if it was me, I would have waited, but yeah, that's probably the best option. Let Blumchump have it on the inside now, or the outside of Easy. He'll now pick up the DRS, and he'll be able to attack that house down the main straight. Just going to move on with him now, as he seems... he doesn't seem to make as much of an indent as I expect, so I imagine Blumchump's got some heavy downforce on that car, just to give him that extra straight line speed. I mean, it will compromise him, though, on some of the bendier sections of the track, but luckily for him, they're very limited. There's not very many to go on. So unfortunately, he's not managed to make that move stick. Not too much changing at the moment. Most people are just sticking behind each other quite comfortably. As we can just see, there's a nice little train of cars between 5th, 6th and 7th. Era's still leading the way, though, so fair play to him. He's still leading his way at the front, which is obviously very good. As you can see there that I think that's Murphy, was that one of the Mercedes going very wide there? It must be Wolsey. Oh, I see, that must be what it is. So that McLaren there is obviously Trem at the back of the field being lapped. Obviously, where it's a very, very small circuit, where he's pitted twice, that's pretty much a lap here, in fairness. Well, it looks like Wolsey's had enough. I think he may have had some slight damage, maybe, but he's done 9 laps on those tyres. So he's going to come out on the mediums now. Interesting choice after 9 laps. I mean, he might go soft, medium, soft, like I mentioned before, but I mean, we'll see how this race progresses. See him further back again. See Murphy's getting very close to the back of the Mercedes. where Blumchum as well is actually still keeping pace with ZGS here. So he's done very well to keep pace with the Racing Point driver, who's started this season off pretty well so far this season. So as we all know about the standard, I mentioned the feature race, but in terms of the sprint race, it's a bit of a different game. You've got Butters in first with 64 points, you've got Dunners in second again with 55 points, very consistent from him, and you've got Aaron in third with 47, followed by Trem with 29. So in terms of constructors, it's looking very competitive, particularly between the top two. So you've got the AlphaTauri with 189 points, and you've got the Racing Point slowly behind on 171 points. And then the McLaren with 129, due to the fact that they're doing really well in the sprint races. Obviously, we do have the Destruction Derby at the end of this session, where drivers get a chance to really just let out some frustration, cause a bit of carnage, something a bit different for everyone to see. I'm just going to keep an eye. I'm going to move back over to Murph here, as he's getting very, very close to the back of Dunners now. And it looks like he might get him on the inside. Bit of a difficult place to overtake him, because this sweeping right-hander can be your worst enemy. If you touch that curb, the car just literally instantly wants to bite out. So he's going to stay on the back of him going on the front here, but the good news for Murph is that Dunners will not get DRS from the main straight. So I would imagine if he can just keep it close, he should, I say should be able to get better exit. He should be able to push this Racing Point all the way to the top, and I can see him overtaking him for sure here. He's already giving it a go as soon as you come down to that main straight, and he's already got past the man. It's just a case if he can keep it under the braking, he should have this move done. He's taken a bit too much of the curb there, which just compromises his exit speed slightly, but he's still got the position. That's all he's going to care about at this point in the race. Obviously everyone at the front, first 5 players here, in Era 6, A-Ridey, Preston Mixer, Willis and Murph, they're all on the soft tyre compound. As you can just see that as it just locks up ZGS, you can just see them trading places. So ZGS is now going to be the man on the charge, with Dunners closely in proximity. As always, the Racing Points seem to be running sort of a similar strategy, so it's going to be interesting to see when they decide to pit. But not a huge amount of action going on at the moment. So what I will say is, how is everybody doing on the stream this evening? Anyone got any weekend plans? What are we expecting from the rest of this race? You see that just as I say that, Preston Mixer is just coming into the pits. He's probably going to drop right out of the points, but obviously that early pit, he's going to go on to the mediums. Is that a front wing change as well? It is, okay. So that means he will find a lot more pace with that front wing being replaced as he exits the pits, but obviously increases his time by about 5 or 6 seconds in the pits there. So Dunners and ZGS still the closest two on the field at the minute, and obviously Murph as well. Obviously those soft tyres are going to start creeping away now. The grip's going to start slowly falling away. So although Murph got the position done on the Racing Point a couple of laps earlier, he will start to feel a bit of pain soon, because those softs may not go for much longer. I don't know if Preston Mix decided to pit because of the front wing damage, or whether or not he decided that the tyres were just starting to lose grip. As you can just see, ZGS locking up. He's locked up a couple of times now. It's going to start hurting his tyres. And he may have to pit early as a result of this, but we'll just see how they keep going as they keep going down the main straight yet again at the moment. I must say, Era 6 is doing really well to keep himself out in front at the moment. Riley's not really made a huge indent on his times. It's currently at 4.6 seconds. I mean, could be that they're just trying to be cautious and try and make those soft tyres last a bit longer. The average for the soft tyres in terms of laps, it's an interesting one. I mean, looking at the graphics at the beginning of the race, it was saying, depending on whether you want to do a one stop or a 2-stop, if you want to do a 1-stop, you might have to just stretch it out slightly, because the hard tyre will probably do about 30 laps. So I would imagine people might be coming in around 15, 16 lap to go onto the hard tyres. I mean, we've seen Joseph Morales and Albert go onto the hards now, and they're already 9 and 10 laps in. So I don't know, actually, saying that. Have they stopped already? They have. So they've put those tyres on for whatever reason. They'll likely go up to about maybe lap 45, 46. And then they'll put the softs back on till the end of the race, where some of these other guys might potentially be doing a 2-stop. I mean, Trem's the only one who's done a 2-stop so far. As you just see ZGS here still having a bit of a battle with Murph, those tyres are finally starting to lose him. As you can just see, he got so much more traction coming out of the corner. But Murph will have the inside line. But he's had to sacrifice a bit of speed there on corner exit, which is going to give ZGS the upper hand going onto this main straight. And neither seemed to have DRS, which was interesting. But except for the first lap, I must say it's been very, very clean between everybody at the moment. As I'm just looking back here, actually, Preston Mixer and Wolsey seem to be trading places. Obviously, Preston Mixer's now got that fresh wing. Not only has he got the fresh wing, he's got fresh rubber on. So I can imagine he's gonna have a big old go here on Wolsey down the second of these DRS zones. Gonna keep it nice and slow. Oh, they almost touched, just about kept it together. Unfortunately for Preston Mixer, he's obviously in the Ferrari, which isn't known for its straight line speed. But if he can just keep it together, get a little bit of a better exit here. He just put the throttle down a little bit too early there. He's over eager in trying to get this position taken. But if he just waits now, we're going to stay on board. Just wait for this main straight. Stay on the tail of him as best he can. If he can get a better exit here, that's better. Much better exit. Now he can push on the throttle. I can imagine. I don't think he's going to keep it here. Wolsey's sliding all over the place here. That's a bit of a dodgy move from him there. He's got to be careful. He can only do one move on off to the racing line. But the Red Bull, I was going to say Ferrari drivers made it stick, but he is on the outside here. Yeah, he had to concede there. Yeah, well, fair play to Wolsey there. He understood that the position was lost. There's not much he could do there. So Preston Mixer, that moves him up into 9th place. But in saying that, Wolsey is still in close proximity, so I'm just going to stay on board with him at the moment. Although I can see that Murph is now under pressure from Dunners, but he is still on the back of ZGS at the same time. Let's just move back forwards here. As you can just see, ZGS trying to defend early doors, taking the inside option really early. But the Red Bull driver's got completely... He's taken the exit really well there, and he's managed to get the place early doors. So the racing points here and Murph just seem to be trading places at the moment, which this won't really suit the racing point drivers, because they're gonna really need to... They're going to want to overtake him now, particularly as they're going to potentially be on different strategies. So we're just going to have to see. I mean, talk to me about special guest appearances. You know, who would you like on the panel? Is that you offering your services, Keely? You wanted to join us as a special guest for a day? Or just for a 5-minute chat, you could tell me all about how you feel about being Aaron's #1 fan. I'm only slightly jealous, bearing in mind, you know, I'm one of your closest friends. I've only known you for about, 13, 14 years. But, I mean, you know, whatever, mate. Loyalty these days doesn't come cheap. Anyway, we're just going to keep going down as Murph's taking the inside line early again here, just trying to defend off the racing point. But the racing point's definitely got the edge here, but he needs to keep it together this time, which he has done. So he's definitely got that place very nicely done again. But I've said this before, he might potentially be coming back on this DRS zone now, but he's also got to bear in mind that Dunners is just behind, so he's going to be wanting to prey on him as well. That's the difficulty here in Sakir, to be fair. It's the short races, the DRS zones that come so quickly that you've got to get out of the zone as quickly as possible. But saying that, getting a 1 second gap out on somebody when it's only a 1 minute a lap track with very limited corners, it's really difficult to do so, which is why we're seeing places just constantly being traded at the moment. Dunners has just backed off a little bit there. I don't know if he had a bit of a compromising exit on the last turn, but I wouldn't be surprised here if Murph now takes a position back from ZGS along this main straight yet again. As you can see, look, he's already going on the inside. He's completely blitzing it on them, but he has taken up all of his ERS charge, which ZGS can use to his advantage. I mean, all the while they're trading the positions here is all the time that it's damaging their tyres and damaging everything that they're doing. I mean, 17 laps though on these softs is very good. I wouldn't be surprised if we started to see people pit soon, because I mean the softs really to go for 20 odd laps plus is I'd like to think is pretty impressive. Just seeing that, we're seeing Wolsey and Preston Mixer having a bit of fun. And, oh wow, Preston Mixer's obviously spanned there on the seconds. That's really unfortunate for him. Hopefully he hasn't got any wing damage. Just going to try and take a look at that. No, it doesn't appear to have any damage, so he must have just span out and just managed to get away with it there. But he has obviously lost quite a lot of time. So I'm just going to see here, Murph has finally decided to pit on lap 18 to 19 here from Sauce. So he's going to go back onto Sauce again, though, so he's definitely going to have to stop again. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Murph go until about lap 40, and then, or maybe slightly less than that. But obviously, as the car gets lighter, obviously the tyres have a lot less stress on them, so those tyres tend to last a bit longer. So it could be that although he's done 18 laps on these first set of softs, he might be able to do 22, 23 in the second set, we don't know. But it'll just be a case of figuring out when the tyre life has sort of left him, and he might just want to pit earlier to get onto those mediums, because those mediums will see him out until they'll see him out to the rest of the race. So moving back up to the front, so that's on Lee said GS and Dunners now. Although Dunners is behind his teammate, very close proximity at the moment. Wouldn't be surprised if these two start fighting a little bit towards the main straight. If the soft tyre can do 20, I wouldn't be surprised to see the medium do near 30. So it could be that if they're going to go 30 odd laps on the mediums, I'd be interested to know if they're just going to be doing a medium soft race. I mean, if they can get, I don't know, if they can really eke it out, maybe do 35 laps, you could probably do 22 on the softs, as the front three are proving that you can stick on these softs and they can go quite a bit more distance. Again, that's because most of this track is straight line, so thankfully quite a lot of these corners here aren't too many harsh braking zones or anything like that. It's all quite good. So Hinderboy, I haven't mentioned him much today, but he's currently in 6th place. I apologise for the precision yawn, I can't see the stops today. So he's got a 3-second time penalty, which will be added on to the end of his race. He's just got Blumchum for company in 7th at the moment, and then he's got Murph a bit further down the road there, 13 seconds off, but he has pitted, so obviously there's a big contrast in there. Only so the top 7 yet to pit. So everyone behind here, if anything, sometimes it can be good to pit and then get into that clear air, just because it's a lot less dangerous on your tyres. Your tyre temperatures, your brake temperatures, they all stay cooler, so they stay in the more of the optimal sort of range. Because we all know staying behind the car and although you'll get a slipstream, what it doesn't do is if you stay there for a long time, the hot air can compromise the aerodynamics, and it also then slows you down, and it also gets higher temperatures. If your tyres or your brakes go too hot, you lose performance. So even if the tyre life is still there, if they get too hot, you lose grip. So it's just a case of not a problem being behind somebody, but you'd rather not do it for too long. So sometimes it's better just to pit, get a bit of open space here. So that Murph's done really. He's pitted, he's now got open air, he's got a 12-second gap between him and 7th, but he'll be beginning to, without anyone being there to disrupt his race, he can now just focus on himself. And as you can see, he's eking out the time quite a lot here out of the Haas driver in 7th. I mean, I think we're already looking at about a second a lap here. So I wouldn't be surprised if he'll be close. Well, saying that, Blumchum has just pitted now, so he's done enough on those mediums. So he's only done 22 laps on the mediums, which is surprising. Because, I mean, we're seeing some of these guys sticking on the softs for 21 laps. I'm surprised he's gone in early for that. But he has gone on to mediums now. So I imagine he's probably just going to... He's going to pit again. He's going to probably put himself 100%. He's just going to attack. And those tyres will wear off quicker probably as a result. I mean, I like how I always talk about... People talk about looking after their tyres and stuff. No one looks after their tyres. Everyone races 100% all the time, don't they, really? It's just a case of whether or not you're a smooth driver or not being the difference. But anyway, looking back to the front, so Dunners and ZGS are still fighting. We've got Willis currently in 3rd place. I'm just going to move on to see how we're doing at the front here. So I'm just going to have a little look. So you've got Era currently in the lead by 5.5 seconds. The lap times, it was about 4.5 seconds earlier on the race, but I think it was higher. I think it was about 6.6 at one point. So it might be that maybe Era's just starting to feel the effects now of the tyre degradation. I mean, he is 22 laps in. The one thing I would say is if you let the tyres get a bit too worn at this circuit, you've just got the right-hander where you can go all out, the one we've just taken here, and it's quite easy to lose the car, to be honest, just at the beginning of Sector 3. So you don't want to take too much life out of them in trying to eke it out, just because you want to try and forego one pit stop. And as I say that, yet again, in he comes. So he's done 24 laps so on these softs, which is quite impressive. So Riley's going to take the lead now, where he comes out on the medium. So he's going to want to do this until the end now. So 33 laps on the medium, which is very possible, I must say. I think he'll be able to do that. I imagine that's what everybody else is going to be doing. And by everybody else, I mean the top three. So, unfortunately for Error, though, he is going to come out on a bit of traffic. So he's probably going to have about 4 or 5 seconds on front of the boys, but he's going to have Hinderboy for company now, so he needs to warm the tyres up early doors, he needs to push on, make sure he's not then stuck defending against Hinderboy, because otherwise that might compromise his race. Because now that he's pitted, I wouldn't be surprised if Riley and Willis both pit now, just to try and sort of cover that off, because the longer they stay out now, it may potentially compromise themselves in terms of lap times, because their lap times are starting to obviously drop now, I would imagine. So I'm surprised Riley didn't pit slightly earlier, maybe try and get a bit undercut, trying to get a bit more time back. As you can just see, Riley's coming in now, so we know it was about 5.5 seconds previously, so it'd be interesting to see what the gap's going to be between him and Hinderboy when he comes out. So he's definitely going to come out between 6th and 7th, I think, so we'll have to see what's going to happen here. I'm just going to keep an eye on where Hinderboy is, and here they are on the main straight now. So Riley is just coming out at the moment, so yeah, Riley has dropped down to 6th, which is what we expected. Just going to have a little look at the lap time. She's got 4.1 seconds onto Hinderboy and 1.3 to Error. So to be honest, it's pretty much exactly the same as it was before the pit, so no major influences there. So I'm just seeing here, we have got Dunners and ZGS now, still fighting with each other, or perhaps maybe not fighting, or perhaps just struggling along together after 24 laps on these mediums. They're only 4.2 seconds away from Willis at the moment, so they might slowly just be gaining on that Red Bull driver, but they are yet to pit. Now, Error's come out in 4th after a couple of the other boys have just pitted. I think Blumchum just pitted, so it's moved him up one. But Error's going to be in a good position now. He's 1.5 seconds behind. He's going to have fresh tyres, so he should be able to attack these guys. But again, he just doesn't want to get involved with a fight with Hinderboy now on 25 lap old tyres. That's what I will say. So they're still going though, however, but they are beginning to catch up to Willis. I think Willis has definitely started to suffer with his tyre degradation. I think he's going to need to pit this lap, because otherwise he's just to start losing more and more time. And just looking at it at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if Riley and Era 6 were just catching him up bit by bit. Not really sure why he stayed out there this long, to be honest. 25 laps. We'll have to see what happens as it comes in. So I'm just going to keep an eye back on ZGS then. So Error's gaining. He's been gaining all lap, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him mount an attack shortly in the next coming corners. He is going to have DRS, but like I mentioned earlier before, ZGS has also got DRS on his teammates, so it is going to nullify that effect. So if he's going to do it, he's probably going to have to do it either under the braking zone, or he's going to have to try and find a different part of the track to overtake. It's easy to catch people, but it's obviously a lot harder to overtake. So we'll just have to see what's going on. He is going to keep with them, and I'd imagine he'd probably catch them up more along the corners at the moment, because obviously he's going to have much better traction, better tyre condition. Bit stale at the moment, as we're just about to hit sort of the midway point of this race. Willis is still in front. The two racing points sitting in second and third are still catching Willis. The gap is now down to 3.1 seconds. But they are going to be attacked by the Mercedes shortly, so that might just allow Willis, if Error can get in amongst these two racing points, that might be the breathing room that Willis needs. You can just see ZGS just locking up that front right again. As I just come down the main straight, and as I say that, Willis has decided he's had enough now. So he's going to cop out. He should drop out between 6th and 7th behind Riley and Willis. It's just a case of, I wonder how far back he's going to be. It's still coming out now. I tell you what though, Murph is coming down the main straight. It's going to be close between the two Red Bulls. See, that's a surprise actually. I didn't think Murph would be so close to the back of Willis after the pit stop. So he's 12 seconds back now. I just think staying on those softs just a little bit too long has really hurt him. But I mean, he has come out on the mediums, which means towards the end of this race, he will have the best tyre performance compared to the others. But whether or not he's going to be able to make up those gaps is another question. So Era 6 has just dropped Hinder Boy now, but that's to be expected with the fact of he's on 27 lap old mediums. So Era's going to attack the first racing point coming down the main straight now as we enter lap 29. Sort of racing point, sort of blocking him out there, sort of going side by side into the first corner to give the Mercedes driver nowhere to overtake. It's either tactful or it's just a case that they're trying to race each other. Either way, it looks pretty impressive as they do that. Are most of these guys doing through? So, to be honest with you, I don't imagine so. I mean, the guys who are currently here, ZGS and Dunners, they're definitely doing a one-stop. They've got to lap 30 now. They're probably going to keep going until about... if they can, they're probably going to get to about lap 40. Or maybe high 30s before they switch on to softs. Because if they were going to go on to hards, they would have done it already, I would imagine. Error is definitely on going from a soft-medium race. Same with Riley. Hinder Boy, I imagine he's on the same strategy as the boys up in front at the moment. He will pit probably anywhere between maybe lap 35 and lap 40. But it also does obviously depend on their tyre life. I mean, this is what they'd like it to be. They'd like to be able to go to lap 40, and then they only have to do maybe 17 laps on these softs. But in reality, we don't know how hard they've pushed those tyres. ZGS has had a couple of lockups that wouldn't have helped him. So his tyre performances might be a bit less than what they could have been. So we're just going to see here again that Riley's now catching to the back of Error. So Error's not been able to make an indent and try and overtake these two racing points. And what that's done is that's allowed Riley to get past Hinder Boy. Or I'm not sure if he actually did have to overtake him or not. But either way, he's now on one lap softer tyres, I'll say, one lap fresher even. And he's now getting very close to the back. As you can just see, Error's going in. Oh, he's going to get a corner cut for that. But he's lucky. That might have only been his first one because he didn't get a penalty for it. That will have cost him time. So now Riley is within 1 second. Tell you what, Dunner's battling with Error, though, has given ZGS a bit of breathing room. He's now out of DRS zone. So that's why he's struggling so much. Not only is he on a lot older tyres, 24 laps difference. As you can just see, Error making the move stick there. He just got so much better traction. Now, unfortunately for Dunnies, he's now going to be in a bit of a battle here because he's got a Riley right behind him already, coming onto this main straight. He just pushed him off the track a little bit, but not enough for it to be sort of an illegal manoeuvre. So ZGS has got 1 second on Error. Error's now going to start trying to hunt ZGS down, knowing that he needs to overtake. He doesn't necessarily need to overtake, knowing full well that these guys do need to pit. But what he doesn't want to do is allow the guys to slow him down too much, because he's going to have the boys behind him chasing very soon. So Riley's obviously up into third, Error's into second now, and ZGS is leading the way in first. So just having a little look further down the field at the moment. So nothing really much to talk about. You've got Murph currently in 8th place. He's currently chasing down Blumchum. He's currently 1.3 seconds behind. Not a huge amount going on elsewhere. I found this actually on Monday, that because it's such a short track, you don't actually get as much overtaking as you would do on others. Obviously, where most of the drivers make up their time, it's going to be on the corners. You know, the corner entry, the corner exit, where you gain the most lap time, I'd say. Particularly on the better drivers. I mean, obviously, you've got realistic performance on, which will be hampering some of the people as well, no doubt. So Murph is just catching Blumchum ever so slightly. He's not quite in DRS range, but he might be in the next couple of corners if he can just stick with him. You've then got Wolsey in 9th, and then you've got Preston Mixer in 10th. But you've got Albert, who's just come out on fresh rubber on the softs. I don't know if he's going to go until the end on those. could be it's an interesting tactic for him. I suppose he could do 24 laps. Like I mentioned earlier, obviously the car's probably lost, you know, half its weight of fuel now, so it's probably about 50 kilograms lighter. So it's just a case of how damaging he is to those tyres. So it looks like Hinderboy and Dunners have both pitted, so they finally had enough. They're going to come out on the soft tyres, no doubt. So they think they can do 24 laps on these. So there's no reason why they can't, in fairness. But now, where have they come out then? So you've got Hinderboy dropped into 9th place. But Dunners has done really well just to get out in front of Wolsey there on the mediums. Luckily, he's got just out in front of him. I can't imagine the Mercedes driver's going to have too much to say about that, just based on the fact of that he's on such older tyres, 23-lap-old mediums. He's still yet to pit as well, Wolsey, so Dunners will not want to get into this battle. He's going to want to push on as soon as possible now. As I say that, though, Aero looks like he's going to be making the move on ZGS. Just about in time to see the move happen. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, they're still fighting on these corners, but... Oh, he's conceded the place there, Aero. It's difficult because ZGS, I guess, did have the race in line, but... Again, the more he's battling here, the more Riley's licking his lips and he's ready to pounce. I already feel like I might as well just send the bin out. Send the bin now. As long as Riley keeps it nice and simple, keeps it clean, he's definitely on for a podium here. It's just a case of whereabouts. I mean, at the moment, Aero obviously is the favourite. He's in the quicker car. But Riley is obviously very good round here, as he's obviously proven from coming from the back of the grid. I'm just going to have a little look at that. So we're going to see a couple more penalties for a few of the boys. So Murph has now got a 6-second penalty, which will mean that he is definitely going to be overtaken by Dunners, because he's just got that within the 6 seconds now. And I think Murph might need to pit again, but he's going to be under pressure from Wolsey as well soon. So he's got to overtake Blumchum, and not only has he got to do that, he's got to get 6 seconds on him, or hope that Blumchum makes an error and gets a few of his own. So Preston Mixer, after that unfortunate spin earlier on in the race, is still sitting in 10th place. He's got Albert 23 seconds behind him, and Trem unfortunately at the back there, based on the damage that he received earlier on in the race. He's had 3 stops so far this evening. What I will say though is he has done all right. You know, he can just show that his fastest lap is a 1 minute 2.2. I mean, in comparison to some of the other guys in the field, I mean, Errors' best is a 1 minute 2.2. As you can just see him picking up a 3-second time penalty, which is really going to hurt him towards the end of this race. But just looking at that, it just goes to show that if he didn't get the damage, he'd definitely be up there fighting with amongst these other drivers. And I can just see that there's been a position change between Error and ZGS. Same time again, it's just a case of whether or not he's definitely got the move done this time, I would say. Yeah, he definitely has. So now he can start moving on. And as I say that, he just goes wide. It's going to allow ZGS to attack him on this second DRS zone. No, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get that. That Mercedes power engine just being a little bit too quick for ZGS there. Again, though, he's gone wide again, and that's going to give him a position. ZGS has taken back the lead of this race, and now Riley is definitely going to get him on the inside here, isn't he? As he's gone wide yet again. Has he lost? He must have lost a wing or something. He's definitely doesn't appear to be going right, does he? I wonder if he's going to be coming into the pits now. Oh no, he's not coming into the pits, but ZGS is. So I wonder if he maybe got a little bit nervous, just pushing on the throttle a little bit too early. Maybe just losing his braking zones, perhaps. But either way, we're on lap 37 now, and Riley has now taken the lead of this race, which I think is for the first time. Obviously, Era's made a couple of mistakes there, which has allowed the AlphaTauri driver to come in and take first place. So he's 1.8 seconds down. He's got a 3-second time penalty. He's going to really struggle to make that up. So ZGS and Dunners, they've both now pitted. They're both now on the soft compound tyre, but ZGS has lost out there. His teammates obviously coming on the soft tyre early. He's been able to put in some more consistent lap times, where ZGS is being attacked by Error 6 and Aaron for the last sort of 5 to 10 laps, really. So as a result, his teammate has got the jump on him. He's 2 seconds down. Hinder Boy is just 0.3, 0.4 seconds behind. So, I mean, but he should have better tyres. You can see Hinder Boy's got the fastest lap with a 1 minute 1 flat. So he is very quick round here, Hinder Boy. It's just obviously not been his race so far with the penalties, etc. Even now, he's still going within the 1 minute ones, I'd say, within this first sector. It's just a case of whether or not he's going to stay on the back. ZGS may have to go on the defensive fairly early. Oh, wow, I say early, Jesus. The straight line speed of that Renault was just insane. So he's got in front of him, Hinder Boy, but he's going to need to get the gap out as well. So I'm just going to have a little look here from the tyres. They're only 4 laps old, so there's no reason why he couldn't potentially build a bit of a gap on ZTS here, but he needs 6 seconds in order to take that position away from the Racing Point driver. I mean, the first things first, getting out of the DRS zone. If he can do that over the next couple of corners, it'll just give him a bit more freedom in order to push. So, just keep an eye here. Willis has now moved back up into 3rd place, where both the Racing Points have obviously managed to, well, I say managed, have had to pit, shall I say. And as I say that, my laptop is playing silly buggers and has lost the stream, so apologies if anyone has put any messages out. Gotta love your technical issues. Okay, we'll sort that back out and see if it will sort itself out. Anyway, the racing's still going on anyway, so ZGS and Hinder Boy is currently the one to watch, although Error is only 0.8 seconds behind Riley now, so he's been able to catch up the field a little bit, which is very handy. Just going to look here as I can just check the old streams. Bring ourselves back onto the channel. There we go. Perfect. Anyway, moving on. So we're on to lap 40 now. I am just going to move away from this fight a little bit, just because the one between the first place is getting a little bit tasty. So Error 6 now is just closing into the back, as I can see that Trem has retired from the session. No safety car, no nothing, so I imagine he's probably done that in the pits. Do you know what, he just doesn't seem to have any luck at the moment, Trem. The last couple of sessions, he seems to be getting knocked about a little bit. I don't know if it's just because he's in the middle of the pack, and obviously that's normally the hardest place to be, in the middle of the field, particularly on lap 1. I mean, it's all well and good being last because you can just sit back and watch the events unfold. But when you're in first as well, as long as you get a good, as long as you get a good start, you're sort of safe, really. Tell you what, though, Albert's done really well here. He's caught up to the back of Pressing Mixer. He's just having a little look on the inside. They just touch. Oh no, I say that, and it looks like there is a yellow flag here. So that's Trem pulled over to the side there. I don't know if he span out, perhaps. Or maybe his car went back onto track, because we've seen that before. So Ferrari's going to try and retake his position. But, I mean, he has managed to do it. Fair play to him. Very, very hard but fair driving at the moment. Just going to keep an eye with these boys for the moment, as you just see that still all over the back of him. He's gone really wide there, Albert, and he's just picked up his first 3-second time penalty. And that's going to hurt him. He's going to need to try and retake this position and push on a little bit. In saying that, Preston Mixer has recently pitted, so he's only got 3-lap-old softs. He's already gone on the defensive here. He's got no ERS to really help him either, which is not going to happen. Yeah, do you know what, Chem? I did see that. I did see that you got hit again. Not really picking up the best luck at the moment, are you? You seem to be not getting the rub of the green, or however you pronounce it, really. So still just keeping an eye at the moment as Albert and Preston Mixer are still going at it. So he's been able to take the place back, as you've probably seen. It's just I just wonder whether or not he can keep it in front of that Ferrari, because although they're not known for their straight line speed, obviously setups are crucial here. So you can obviously put a more downforce onto the car, and you can change how it's aerodynamically set up. You know, you can adjust the ride height, the suspension, which can increase and decrease drag. So it's just, you know, it's just one of those things really. So much you can use to play with on this, and I think they're going to be making it. You can tweak it even further next season. So you can even change things like the PSI in your tyres. So as you can imagine, having higher PSI in your tyres, as you can just see them battling it out once again, as they're just battling. They must be really enjoying this, or not. It depends which way they look at it, I guess. But got another DRS zone coming up soon. He's got the better exit there, I'd say, the Alfa Romeo driver. But again, where he's not got any ERS to play with, it does make his options a bit limited, particularly on these straights, because you can sort of counter out the DRS by using ERS, really, because it's so powerful. But obviously, you've got to be very careful where you use it. So at the moment, he's suffering that now. So although he is maybe even slightly quicker, I mean, you could say, but because of that ERS mode, it naturally depletes on its own, and you gain it back under hard braking, where it just charges the battery. So it uses the brakes in order to charge the battery for the next lap. So as you can see at the moment, it's only at 3%, and it just keeps depleting that battery out. When you pit, etc., is a good way of charging it as well, because you can actually charge the battery while it's all going through. Let's just see that. I'd win a life supply of Tampax with my luck. I mean, I'm not sure what I can say about that. I want to make a joke about it, but I'm not sure it's. I should say that live on the stream, so I think I'll keep it to myself for now. But anyway, so we're just still seeing here that the pack's not really changing too much. Obviously, a lot of people have recently pitted a bit more in the midfield areas. You can just see Riley picks up his first penalty, so that's now even the score. So if Eric can just keep putting the pressure on here, you never know, Riley could make another mistake and maybe snatch the win from him. Just depends on, obviously, how he keeps it going. So this fight, unfortunately for Albert, is a bit of a loss really. He always going to be losing, just due to the fact that he's on older tyres. He's now gone to pit. I wonder if has he lost part of his wing or something from that. I wonder why he's decided to pit in. No, he's just decided to pit for fresh rubber. I guess he's just trying to cover it off, just in case Preston Mixer has an issue and has to come in himself. I mean, he's going to find it difficult to try and catch up to him now, with only 12 laps remaining. But we'll have to see how he gets on. Right, so moving back here, so we've got Hinderboy is now 0.3 seconds behind Willis. I mean, he's done very well to catch the back of that Red Bull for that last podium place. Just checking out his penalties here. So he's got 6 seconds. The good news is he's on the better tyre, he's on the softs. He's also 5 laps fresher. So, I mean, he could overtake him, and he could get 6 seconds if he plays his cards right. But the problem is, towards the end of the race, he may struggle. He's also got Dunners right behind him, so them two are fighting for position at the moment. And the Red Bull's just sort of taking advantage of the situation. I yawn yet again. It's not even that late. Well, there we go then. So Hinderboy's actually got the position here. He's quite far back there, so I'm surprised he managed to get that done. Fair play. But now Willis is going to have to. He knows that he's got the 6 seconds. Oh, he goes really wide there. Okay, that's going to put him straight under pressure here again from the Red Bull. He's going to have much better corner exit there. It's just whether or not he can keep it, as he just decides where to go. He has gone on the inside. Oh, he's just not quite going to make that, unfortunately. But he's going to stick on the inside line. I can't imagine he's going to overtake there. It's really difficult, I'd say. It's a nice little three-way battle going on between the 3 different cars as well, I might say. Renault, Red Bull, and the Racing Points. It's going to be really. The problem is he's got no defence, Hinderboy here either. Again, no ERS to play with, so his best option, the only thing he can do really is just get out of there early doors. You can just see now Willis is now defending from Dunners. This is going to give Hinderboy the gap he needs just to get out of the DRS zone, focus on his own race again, and perhaps he might be able to pull out that 6-second gap. I mean, it's very possible, 10 laps to go. Reckon the mediums will last for the... Yeah, 100%. I mean, the guys were doing 20-odd laps on the softs earlier, and bearing in mind the medium obviously is a much more durable compound, I wouldn't be surprised. 10 more laps, 32 laps, that doesn't seem like a push to me. I think the mediums will make it that distance for sure. It's just a case of who can hold it together, really, because at the moment they are running pretty close together, so if one of them just takes the life out of the tyres a little bit too soon, it might give an opportunity for one of the boys to try and overtake. But we'll have to see. But I'm just going to keep an eye on Dunners and Willis, because although Dunners has got the move done on Willis, he is still with him in close proximity. You can just see Albert there, he's currently lapped at the moment due to the fact of the beginning shenanigans, we'll call them. But the problem for Willis is that because he's gone in on the medium tyres, a lot of these guys have come in on soft, and you just see him unlapping himself, Albert, as it just goes along. But then he is 2-lap old soft, so I'm not surprised that he's quick around here, that's for sure. Nothing really happening elsewhere though. A lot of the drivers are pretty spaced out, as you can just see the gap to the leader. I'm just going to change this back, as you can see that the 1 minute and 0.7 is now the fastest lap from ZGS. I mean, big gap between second and third. Obviously, we know we've got a couple of penalties which aren't going to help the situation either. I'm just going to pop my fan on, so please let me know if it makes a lot of... if it's too muffly, please let me know. Because it is getting a bit warm in here now. So anyway, we're on lap 49 of 57. What do you think of the track itself? I mean, I'm going to put it out there and say I'm not a fan. Don't really like any of the short race tracks here, but obviously for drivers' purposes, streaming purposes, we want to make sure that, you know, that we do all the different tracks that the game offers. Because who knows when they're going to be taken out by Codemasters. Because, I mean, the new game comes out in a couple of weeks. I must admit I'm very excited. I am going to have to hold fire until the end of July for my birthday. I'm trying to have a bit of patience, which I don't normally have, to be honest. Just going to have a little look here. As you can just see that there's about 0.3 of a second gap here between Blumchum and Murph. So Murph's on the soft tyres now, but Blumchum's on the softs. He is on the superior car though, so it's just a case of Blumchum's going to be under pressure. There's not going to be much he can do about it, unfortunately. That Red Bull is just going to be so much quicker overall. Although we did see that the Haas did have some good straight line speed earlier. As you can just see, he is using his DRS and just trying to take on the inside line here. And the Haas is going to go a bit deeper, but he has managed to keep the position. So very nicely done on the first turn in there. He should keep the position again here, because you'll find it really difficult to overtake there. As you can see a little bit of slide from Murph there, as he's just trying to be a bit aggressive on the throttle there. He's trying his best to get in front of the Haas. He wants that 7th position. But at the moment, to no avail. The gap to the lead has just come down slightly. We're looking at 1.3 seconds. So he is getting close to that DRS range now. So, I mean, even saying that, it's now 1.1. So maybe see something happening here, as you can just see that Blumchum going really wide on that last exit, but obviously he's been very clean so far this race. He hasn't been given a penalty or anything for the corner cut in. So just going to mention, unfortunately we lost Joseph Morales early on in the race. I believe it could be down to an internet connection issue. I don't know if it's Codemasters or related or what, but unfortunately we've lost the driver early on. I think Trem had just calling it a day, unfortunately. Had such bad luck, 3 pit stops, carnage in turn 1, and then again in turn 2. Just an innocent bystander, unfortunately. But what I will say is it could partly be Trem's fault, because, I mean, we all know his car's twice as wide as everybody else, so it's kind of difficult to avoid sometimes, I guess. So leads still at 1.1 seconds. Hingy Boy looks to be just about getting a little bit of a gap on Dunners, 2.2. He needs to get another 4 seconds though in the last 5 laps, which I think he's going to really struggle to find. So for me, I think Dunners will take that last position on the podium away from Hingy Boy. It's just like last week, unfortunately. He deserved he raced so well to get up there, but unfortunately, I think the penalties are just going to screw him over yet again. As we just see the Red Bull and the Haas still fighting with each other for 7th place. No other real battles to talk about at the moment, unfortunately. The drivers are all sort of getting into a nice little rhythm of their own. I'm just going to start watching on from error as we just see as he's still trying obviously catch up to the AlphaTauri. So he does have a slightly superior, he obviously has a superior car. The Mercedes obviously is a better car than the AlphaTauri, but I have to say that the AlphaTauri seems to be a bit of a dark horse really. I mean, even on the Mondays as well, the AlphaTauri seem to be doing really well. So I'm not really sure they're as weak as what we would suspect, or even it could just be that the midfield cars are so similar. Oh, and Albert's decided to call it quits as well. He's out. So he's gone into the pits and he's retired. Obviously didn't feel he could get back to pressing Mixer now and try and make up that gap, unfortunately, with only 4 laps remaining. That's really unfortunate for him. But as you can see, that means that the last 10 racing are guaranteed points. So a bit of a positive for them. So Riley's still got the lead, 1.6 seconds. Just sort of, you can just see here that Error's really starting to slow out now. He's 1 second off his quickest lap time so far. It's likely that the tyre degradation is now starting to take a factor. I mean, Keeley mentioned earlier, you know, will they be able to get these tyres to run till the end? And I'm confident that they will. And looking at the moment, it does look like they will. Hinge Boy's now really, unfortunately, well and truly screwed himself. He's now definitely going to lose a 2nd place. He's going to be dropping down to 5th now, as he just picked up another penalty. So he's now up to 9 seconds. Error's picked up a 2nd penalty, which I haven't seen, which is pretty much going to say, wham bam, thank you ma'am, that is game over really. I can't see him overtaking Riley and getting 3 seconds on him in 3 laps time, unless the AlphaTauri driver has a colossal error somewhere, which if he did, it would be very unlike him. So I must admit, it's unfortunate that we're 3 laps away from the end. You can just see here Murph is still fighting with Blomchum as we just stay with them. So the Haas driver has won that battle again, but with those 6 seconds, I mean, he can even afford to let him go. But let's be honest, who wants to let anyone by? If you're going to take the position, penalties or not, you're going to have to do it on the track by physically overtaking. Because no one wants to lose a place, doesn't matter where it is. I mean, I can't imagine how the old boys feel every time they have to let someone pass as they're lapping them, particularly obviously in current F1. It's obviously a horrible thing to do, or a horrible thing to be asked to do, I guess. Or you could just be like Mercedes. You know, they see a Ferrari coming up behind, they know they're not really a threat to win the championship, so let's let them go. Very nice sportsmanship, to be fair. It was a very nice touch from them. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for Carlos Sainz, as he was trying to chase Lando Norris down, I believe, for I believe it was it 5th place, I think. So you can just see the Red Bull's going to attack again, and he's left room though. He has left room for the Haas, but the thing is, in doing so, he's just giving him the outside line. He's able to get a bit more traction on the exit as the Red Bull takes a lot more curb. But he's still very close by here, so I wouldn't be surprised if Blomchum still gets on the back, because he set this up to I think he set his car up to have very high straight line speed for sure. The downforce on his car must be really strong, as no one seems to really be outpacing him in terms of pure pace on the straight line. So yeah, unfortunately, looks like Riley's definitely taken this one. And when I say unfortunately, I just feel because of penalties, etc., we've been robbed of a bit of a grand finale, which is a shame. Hinterboy's now got 9 seconds, so we know he's going to drop down to 5th place, which means Dunners is going to be 3rd place in this race if he keeps it together, unless Willis has anything to say about it. He's just, I think he's a little bit too far out really to make a bit of an indent. So the only race, still again, this only sort of fight going on is between the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri, the Haas even, what am I saying? There is no second AlphaTauri, unfortunately, as there is no James Punt this evening, so I'm wishing him well, hope he's all good. Obviously not sure why he's not racing tonight. Mentioned it earlier, but I'll say it again. Happy birthday to Butters, who again isn't here tonight because I believe he's enjoying a lovely birthday meal of some kind or drink. I don't know. He didn't actually mention it to me, so I couldn't really say for sure. But yeah, it looks to be that this is, unfortunately, all the places, I would say, are pretty much decided, aren't they? I mean, to be fair though, Murphy's catching ZGS pretty quickly, and so is Blumchum. But the thing is, we're on the last lap here now, so it's just a case of will he have enough time? Murph is going to be the one who loses out here. He's going to drop down to, he's potentially going to drop all the way down to 9th place, unfortunately for him. Yeah, I can't imagine there's going to be much changing here. Well, it is the last lap. I'm just going to ride on board with the inevitable race winner here, as we can just see Riley coming around the last corner, to take home the win. Riley wins again. Solid race from him. At one point, it didn't look like he was going to take it home. Era 6 has driven really well here today to pick up that second place podium. Hingerboy will finish third, but then his penalties will obviously take effect, and he will drop down the list, unfortunately. As you can see, Dunners takes third place from him in final positions on the pole, and he does lose out to Willis as well, which is what we'd expect. A solid race from Willis as well, taking his car into 4th place. Very nicely done indeed. ZGS is in 6th. I think he just stayed out a little bit too long on the softs, on the medium, his first stint, which just caused him to lose a bit too much time, unfortunately. And then you've got Blumchum, he manages to finish in 7th. Well done on him. And you've got Woolsey in 8th. Murph finishing in 9th. And finally, Pressing Mixer in 10th. Yeah, I mean, just keep them in. I mean, how many more weeks have we got to go in these seasons? I think there's 10 rounds, I think, per season. So, I mean, I might as well get another 10 beers in now. Right. Well, that is the first race done and dusted. As we just see another comment from Tiki. Strong driving from Era and Riley. Who's your driver of the day? For me, I think driver of the day in this particular race, I'm actually gonna give it to Willis, to be honest. Actually, I think he's driven solidly in this race. Hasn't picked up many points so far, but he's managed to put it in 4th though. Although I appreciate he's on a Red Bull, but yeah, I'm going to give it to Willis. I think he's done really well to make up those 4 places and to keep it on. Unfortunately, people like Riley, Dunners, ZTS, Hinderboy, they're all sort of half expected to get those podium places now. So we'll be moving on to the second race shortly. And yeah, thanks Tom. Yeah, I agreed. Congratulations to Willis. Solid race from him. Really strong actually. So I'm just going to pop away for a very short break, and then we'll be back underway for our second race. Now, second race will be shorter race, the sprint race. Still have strict corner cut on, etc, etc. The starting grid will be custom, but it'll be, I believe it is randomised, so anyone could be anywhere. So we'll have to see how that all turns out. But you'll just have to ignore the fact that you won't get to hear my dulcet tones just for the next minute or two. I'll be back shortly. Right, I'm back, everybody. I say everybody, the 5 of you that are still here with us. I'm surprised Riley hasn't come on to this stream here to send his love to you, Tom. He seems to love doing that at the moment. You guys have got a bit of a bromance going on. Right, so I imagine the race is going to be underway fairly soon. The second phase, I think a couple of boys here needed to go for a smoke break or pee break or whatever it is. But while we're here then, so it looks like there's not going to be a huge amount of change in terms of the feature race. With Riley scoring 25 points here, you've obviously got the 2 racing points for scoring 24 between them. So obviously he's not going to be around because James Punt's not been here. No other points have been scored by the constructors. So although they've finished in solid places in 3rd and 6th, it's still not enough to start making a dent on the Alpha's constructors lead. So they're going to have to try and make up for the fact they've got 2 drivers compared to his 1 in his second race. Need to maybe hope for a nice bit of a better starting grid on the randomizer. Could see a couple of other people come into play here. I really want to see Trem come into this one now that he's because again felt bad after his he's had a couple of issues at the moment, hasn't he, with with some of the unfortunate incidents. So I imagine we'll hear more about that after the stream today. So we've got a 50% race now, so that I think it's 29 laps. So yeah, you're right, Tommy. Yeah, he's too cool for school today, mate. Haven't you got a shirt that's got that on there from when you were kids? Definitely sounds like a shirt you'd like to wear. I can just see ZGS is readying up, so it means we might be getting underway shortly. But yeah, guys, driver-wise, etc., if there's anything that you feel we've missed out so far, let us know. So let's have a little look here. Well, let's just talk about next week, shall we? So while we're just waiting for the race, the session is going to be starting in the next 30 seconds. What I can do is we're in for a stormer next week. We're at Melbourne next week, and I don't know about you guys, but personally, I am a massive fan of the Australian Grand Prix. I must admit, since I took up this sort of semi-role of doing the commentating for this season, I'm a bit gutted, to be honest. Definitely missing the racing with these boys on a Thursday. Normally some really good solid races, but you know, who knows what could happen, eh? They might find a better streamer than me to take over on the commentary, and I might be back racing with them next season. Who knows? But yeah, we'll soon find out. Or either that, I'll just stick with this anyway. I don't really mind either way, but it is what it is. So I'm also going to mention Mr. T. Keeley again today, as he's one of our loyal servants, shall we call him. It's his birthday on the Saturday, so I just want to wish him a happy birthday for the Saturday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, whatever it is you're up to. Unfortunately, I will be working, so I will not be indulging in any festivities, which I'm going to. It's kind of depressing, particularly when the reason you can't make it is for work, because let's be honest, no one wants to miss anything because of work. But it is what it is, unfortunately. So let's have a little look here. So we should have the guys doing another formation lap, so we'll have a chance just to see who's been placed where on the randomizer front. So just waiting for the drivers to press in. So we have lost Joseph Morales, unfortunately. He's not here for the second race. So that leaves 12 drivers on the grid for this second race. I know you're coming to my 30th, but that's not the point. Mine's obviously better. Mine, you know, party, band, what more could you ask for? I mean, unfortunately, Tom, you're just really terrible at organising things. Where's the sports day this year? You had an opportunity to do something like that, and you chose not to do it. You said it was too much hassle, I believe, is what you said. But, I mean, you know, yeah, it's your choice at the end of the day. It's your 30th, mate. But, you know, I'm not going to be too upset about it. Although, yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. Then again, with my gammy foot at the moment. I haven't really been able to do any exercise recently, so fingers crossed the blood test results come back in a couple of days and I'll be back out there, because I am missing badminton and football far too much at the minute. Anyway, less about my personal life. Let's get on to this. So, it looks like one of the racing points are going to start on first. And Albert's done well here, second place. And Blomchum in third. ZGS is going to be in fourth. You've got Trem in fifth, which is good. If he can get a good, clean getaway, I'd like to think he'd be confident of getting himself some nice points there. Willis in sixth. Riley's going to be starting at the back here with Woolsey. But in between them, we've still got Preston Mixer in 7th, Era 6th and 8th, Hinderboy in 9th, Murph in 10th. And I can just see that Willis has now just left the session here. I wonder if he's just having a bit of issues, connection issues. But I'll tell you what though, this has worked out really well for those racing points. So they're going to start in 1st and 4th. So we're going on to, I think it's the 50% race. So this should definitely be another one-stopper based on the last race. I'd imagine most people possibly going to start on softs again, and then they'll probably move on to either mediums or hard. So we can see a couple of people have decided to start on the medium compound. So they'll obviously get off the line a bit better because they'll have a bit more better traction. As you can just see there, ZGS spinning out on the formation lap. Bless him. Hopefully he doesn't do that in the race, but luckily no harm done. That'll certainly warm his tyres up. Right, so we're just going to see everyone slowly coming back to their positions on the line. I think having the outside line here is probably... I prefer having the outside line on this one coming into turn 1, because you can just take that wider angle, whereas the people on the inside are going to have to compromise their entry speed to get a better exit, which in my personal opinion it's not the way to do it in my eyes. But we're just about to start this race then. Let's just see how we do on the second side. Trem's going to have some cold tyres here, where he's got disqualified from the formation lap, which isn't great fun. Oh, okay, someone has just gone flying off there. That must be Willis. Is that Willis' shadow? Is he going to have to try and catch up? Who was that has just gone flying in front of us? Yes, Charles, he has kept it quiet. Oh, and now Willis has now retired from the session. Got a feeling that might have a slight hindrance on the starting of this race. Interesting. Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see if this session gets restarted, as I don't think this is going to... Oh no, he's left the session and we're going to start. I take it back. Okay, so everyone's going off now. It's all a case of who got the better start. I wouldn't say the Racing Point got away particularly well. Oh, there's big old contact with the Ferrari and Hinderboy. That's upsetting. That's going to knock two of those guys out. Murph retiring from the session. Oh, ZGS has retired from the session. Oh, wow, there's been all kinds of problems. Okay, yeah, we're starting this again. We must be starting this again. I guess otherwise you've only got two boys running around the track. Right, that was an interesting start, to say the least. I don't know why. Perhaps it's because we lost Willis, and perhaps we're restarting it for that reason. I'm just going to try and find out for you now. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can retire from this session. Let's just... Oh, but... I'm not really sure I can retire from this session, but let's find out. Well, I'll just wait for that to come back out, but that was certainly interesting. Thank you, Aaron, for that invite. I might just change things up and just instantly put myself in a car. That would be certainly enjoyable. Let's just try and spectate that again. Yeah. Right. Okay. Right, here we go. Well, it looks like I'm getting a bit more of a break than I expected from last time. Well, let's just carry on chatting crap here then. Giles, thanks for piping up, mate. Any questions about how the first race went, mate? I know you're not. You don't really have much information on Formula One. I know it's not your forte. No Ben Hudson this evening, I will say as well. Unless he's just keeping himself quiet, he does tend to do that. So we're just going to have to wait for the session to sort of restart itself. So we've got a couple of drivers that are missing. It's saying the session's going to be starting again, but... Well, this is not what we expected to happen. I think we're going to have to reset the lobby, no doubt. We'll probably have to all come out and come back in. Ah, here we go. Right, that's better. So, host has been changed. Most of the people are back. Who are we missing? I think it's just pressing Mixer and Willis. Nope, Willis is back. Well, that's... I don't know why it always seems to happen with me. Red flag in the first race. Now we've got resetting of the second one. Never happens on a Monday. I mean, I guess that makes me the common denominator, but... Oh, God. Right, okay, hopefully the session will begin again soon, because that means, yep, 12 drivers now, we should have everyone here. Okay, so for those of you that haven't watched this before, I imagine most of you have, as you're probably repeat offenders, but essentially the second race is always a sprint race, so it's the same circuit but it will be at half distance. So in this case it's still with 25% race distance. It just means that there's no safety cars normally, so there's no safety cars, so if you're out on, say for example, the first corner, you're out. There's not really much else you can do about it, so it makes it a bit more emphasized on cleaner racing. So I'm not sure if we're going to be starting with the same lineup as we had before, so that might be a benefit to some drivers or it might not. It says custom grid, so no, I imagine we've kept it to what it was before, which is handy. Key double or quits? he'll let me know, of course. Okay, so let's just sort of rewind that again. We had a lobby error, unfortunately, which I think kicked one or two of the players, so we all had to retire and start again. Unfortunately, Codemasters probably aren't keeping this game up to date anymore, obviously because they're working on the 2021 version. So hopefully we don't get these issues in the next Formula 1 title. What we're doing at the moment is I can't imagine we're going to be moving over to the 2021 edition straight away. I imagine it will take some time before we'll be doing that. Yeah, Tom, top 3. Yeah, let me just keep digging that grave ever so deeper. Stick to my guns. It'll come off at least once. Right, so we're going to go through... I don't know if we're going through a formation lap or not. They sometimes turn it off when we have issues like this. So I'm just going to keep an eye on and just see what happens there. I didn't actually pay attention to see what it said at the beginning. But what we'll do is we'll just say what we said before. So we know that the previous race winner, Riley, he is unfortunately going to have to start again further from the back. I could send you a crate, but that would be admitting defeat early doors. I could at least wait 2 or 3 weeks before I admit defeat there, Tom. But anyway, the race is going to be underway in 5 more seconds. We may potentially have a formation lap that we just need to bear with while I just run through the grid again. So it should be what it was before. And looking at it now, it is. Yep. So anyway, so I'm just going to run through that list again while we've got a little bit of time. So we've got Dunners in first, Albert in second, Blumchum starting third, and ZGS in fourth. Trem was starting in 5th place, which was unfortunate actually because he got a good start actually, I thought, in that first opening sector, but that first corner, sorry. So everyone's just weaving now. They try and get the tyre temperature up, but obviously the more weaving you do, the more sort of degradation you can actually put on the car as well. So it's about trying to find that right balance of not weaving too much but at the same time they need to get the tyre temperatures up, because what that will do is it will give them better traction when they go off the line on the start straight. Yeah, I think it's a tough one for Riley, but then you look at the last session, he's starting exactly the same place as he started before, I think. So for me, it's ones to watch out for, and this one will be ZGS, Trem, and Dunners in first at the moment. Albert, although he's a very good racer in general, he may struggle around this one just because of the fact that he's obviously in a much slower car. Blumchum's going to be very happy sitting in 3rd place. Let's see if he can keep that. I would imagine as a result, if it was me, because he's on a slower car, he may have started on the soft tyres. Yeah, that's what I would potentially do. As you can just see there, the predicted pit stop strategy. So they think it will be between lap 8 to 13. You'll see them come in for the mediums. But I mean, they'll probably do 5-6 laps before they do this. Just before we get underway, yeah, Albert, what that generally means is that he may have touched somebody in the formation lap. And what that does, it automatically disqualifies you and puts you back onto the track. So you can see that he is still lined up alongside Dunners as we're just about to start the race. Let me just get... I need to stop messing around with this, eh? So Wolsey's got a jump start. He's unfortunately going to give himself a drive-through penalty as we just come down to the first main straight. You see the Red Bull on the outside there making some really good gains, as well as Trem, who's moved up into 4th place. And he's going to go... Oh, it's going to be... No, 2 cars don't go into that corner. The Red Bull, that was a dodgy one. Unfortunately, it looks like Albert's been the casualty of that one from Wolsey. Or one of the other Red Bulls, apologies. But anyway, Dunners has kept the position in 1st place, but you can just see here that Blumchum and him are side by side moving down the second main straight of this course. It looks like Dunners is going to keep the place, however, but he has got the inside line. You've got 4 players all fighting for sort of one corner at the moment. Trem's probably just going to keep himself on the outside, just to keep an eye and see what happens here. He's going to try and pick up on any mistakes as he goes down the main straight. As you just see that Haas doesn't want to give up the position. He wants to come back at Dunners. Is he going to take the inside line? Oh, it's a bit of a difficult one to overtake there. He's going to have to bide his time and wait. He's going to get the inside now. Just needs to take the slipstream. You don't need DRS to overtake on this track. You can use the... you definitely just use your ERS and the slipstream. And so at the moment, Dunners is in first, but it looks like Blumchum's going to take the inside line. If he can get a good traction away, He should just about keep this, which he does. Very well done from the Haas driver. Oh, I think it's doing its own little messing around again, isn't it? Yeah, it's telling people all over the place. Well, we'll ignore it for a minute. So what we know is, Dunners is currently fighting with Trem for position. Oh, and Trem's just been turned out on the track there. Don't know what that was. I'm not sure if the McLaren already had... I'm not sure if he was already in front there, because he may have already been in front. So it's a case of whether or not the stream will tell us why at the end of the race. It's really unfortunate for Trem, because he started really well there again. And again, he's had contact with somebody, and again, it's costing him lots of time and places. So anyway, you've got the Ferrari of pressing Mixer now on the back of Dunners. Dunners obviously starting on the medium tyre compound. Don't expect him to go too deep into this race. I would imagine he's probably going to go maybe even lap 5 or 6, and then he'll be straight onto the soft tyre compound, get himself on the quicker tyre. The longer he stays within touching distance of Blumchum, however, will be beneficial. Obviously, the soft tyre compound is a lot quicker than the medium around this track. So you can see already that RS6 is pitted, Wolsey is pitting, so they're potentially just going to get on their tyres now. And I mean, RS6 has gone onto the softs already. I'm not sure the softs, it might do 11 laps. Obviously, what you've got to bear in mind is only 25% course. That means if the tyres are doing 20 laps on 100%, then obviously they're only going to do 5 in this event. So if the softs were only doing, 22 laps before, I can't see how Era and Hinderboy is going to get out and stay 10 laps on those softs. But you never know, it might happen. So you can just see in the background there, as Riley's jumped up into 4th place, he's just overtaken the second of the 2 Red Bull drivers who are currently in 5th and 6th. So already Riley on the medium tyre compound making some really good ground. He's now going to have to start trying to push to try and get up into where Preston Mixer is. You see Preston Mixer just edging ever closer and closer to that racing point. Has to be said though, the Haas of Blumchum doing really well to stick it up in first at the moment. He's got a really good getaway. He's not under any severe pressure from the racing point at the moment. He's going to be happy just to let the racing point and the Ferrari battle it out. Let them make a few mistakes. Let him get some ground up. So when it comes to the next round of the pit stops, he should hopefully have a bit of a healthy gap. What he will find is he will be under massive pressure from someone like Dunners and Riley when they're both going to be on these softs. And I believe it was only for one drink. I don't know when it was turning into a crate, Tom. Crate of beer. I don't think there's enough rounds in this competition for that to happen. Anyway, let's just have a little look and see what else is going on. We've got the 2 Red Bulls in close proximity to one another. Unfortunately, Trem is currently down into 8th place at the moment, but he is making some strong gains on Albert, so he's going to try and bring himself back up. Just keep an eye on that as we go along. But Willis is going to be attacking his teammate going down into the second DRS straight. Not really going to make an impression there. This is all going to be about pit stops, because everyone's going to come into the pit stops around a similar sort of time. So what I would say is, if you're on the medium tyre compound, wait for everyone to pit, then go straight in onto the softs on your lap, just because if you get congestion in the pit lane, it can cost you so much time. Not obviously, most of the time you'll find in sort of real life F1, you probably won't find more than 3 or 4 people pitting at once. But if you look at everyone on the softs here at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised to see 8 or 9 cars all just dropping in. So Trem's moved up into 7th place. Just having a little look here to see if he's received any damage. He doesn't look like he's got any damage, so that's a good thing. So he's now going to try and push on to try and catch up to the pack of the Red Bulls. You can just see here that Preston Mixer and Dunners are still really close proximity, but they are starting to gain now on Blumchum, so might even be a good time to pit now. Maybe pit now and let them 2 fight it out. You never know. Difficulty is, if you pit early as well, you need to think to yourself where you're going to come out. 20 odd seconds probably puts you from 1st to about 9th. So it's a bit of a difficult one. There's a big old gap though between Trem and Hinderboy, 14 seconds between the 2 of them. So the guys running from 8th and below, obviously in a very difficult position. So you can just see here that Riley is pitted. Aaron is pitted already. He's going to go straight onto those softs, which should easily do the end of the race now. 7 laps, I imagine, should be fine. So Trent moves up to 5th as a result of the pits. You've got Murph in 4th at the moment. You can just see Hingy Boy and... Oh no, I thought there was a fight going on between him and Willis, but it's not, it's just him pitting. So Riley's come out in 7th place. He's got 4 seconds to Hingy Boy, which is what he's going to want. He's got a nice little gap, nice bit of clean air. I mean, the question we're going to have here is just see what happens. We can see Trent pick up the first penalty for multiple corner cuts, unfortunately. So we've got the pack of the 3 leading the way at the moment, all separated by a mere sort of 1.8 seconds, 1.5 seconds here. So Dunners obviously is going to have... Because we did notice that he set that car up really strong. As you can just see now that the full track's telling us that a one-stop strategy is now's a good time to pit. As you can see, Dunners is now pitted. Wonder where he's going to come out to in relation to Aaron. Where is Aaron at the moment? So Aaron's coming down that main straight now. As you see, Error's now picked up a 3-second time penalty. Is he going to... I don't think he's going to get out in front of him, though. Oh, he has! Very nicely done indeed. Dunners has managed to keep the place from Riley. So Riley's jumped up into 5th place. He's got 0.7 seconds behind Dunners, who's now on fresh rubber as well. That's going to be an interesting fight as we watch it going on from there. Just going to keep an eye on Preston Mixer and Blumchum. They've both been on those tyres for 7 laps, so they're going to really start to struggle now. I would expect to see both of them in the pits now, really. I think they're both going to be in the pits. It's just a case of who's got the better pit crew. And they are both pitting. Again, it's a case of, are they going to come out in front of Dunners and Riley still? Or are they going to lose out a position? Nice straightforward stop. Although, Blumchum's got a longer stop. Did he have wing damage? He's still out in front of the... no. And that is Dunners and Riley both taking over the boys, unfortunately. But they are going to be in really close proximity coming into turn 1. Just going to keep an eye on Riley here. Just get him coming down the main straight. So you can just see Blumchum in the background there. Well, it doesn't look like he's going to get him here. Nice and smooth through that little S bend there. Very nicely done. Takes a bit of a tight corner there, though. He's gonna... Oh, he's got a wide exit there. Dunners got a much better line, unfortunately, on the way out of that. That's going to compromise him. You just see him touch the grass slightly. That's not going to help Dunners. You just see he's absolutely gunning it now with the DRS assistance. He might make a go on the inside. No, he backs out of it. He decides now's not the time. He's still got 4 more laps. He doesn't have to rush. Doesn't have to rush into doing anything at the moment. So at the moment, though, Hingy Boy is first. As saying that, he must have went really early pit stop. Yeah, oh yes, he did, didn't he? He's gonna really start to struggle though. 7 laps in, he's got to try and keep that in first place with 4 more laps to go. So, rest of the field though, Blumchum's come out in 4th place now that he's pitted for those medium tyres. Preston Mixer has really missed out, unfortunately. He's down in 7th. So, although they were so close together, just goes to show though that the pits cannot be your best friend or your worst enemy. No, you're right, Tom. Tyres will not be warm. I don't know what the actual temperature is, but they have the blankets, which they obviously keep them in. And then as soon as they go onto the car, you need to warm them up. But, I mean, I'm not sure what temperature they'll come out as. I mean, Hingy Boy is just leaking time. He's leaking time to these 2 drivers behind him. He's gonna find it very difficult to keep these boys behind. That's to be fair, for sure. Just see here, just going to keep an eye on there as you've got Willis trying to attack on Albert. You can see he's got a nice little entry and exit there, but obviously there's not enough straight for him to make any implant on there. But what you might find is he'll try and get him on the inside coming into, I think this will be turn 3. DRS assisted. Yeah, he's not going to be able to make the move stick there either. But we're going to keep an eye on the front of the field here because it's down to 0.4 of a second. So the top 3 separated by less than a second. So it's going to be really interesting. I really can't see how Hinderboy's going to be able to keep it together to try and keep these boys at bay. What I will say, however, is he might be able to keep it on the podium. But we're going to have a 3-man sandwich coming into this first corner. So Dunners is going to take a really wide option there, but he's got the move done. He's done really well. That's just the difference in tyres, that is. Just had such better traction on the exit of that corner. Just be able to put down the pressure a bit more, less wheel spin, more grip. He is probably going to have a go back again, though, because that Renault is pretty quick in a straight line. So he is going to get the position back potentially here. They've just touched. I'll tell you what, though, Riley's taking full advantage of that. They've just accidentally, they've overbraked themselves or underbraked themselves in this particular one. Riley's taken both plates and snatched them both away. He is obviously still heavily under pressure from Dunners here in the racing point, and Hinderboy isn't too far back, so he is still going to potentially going to get DRS on this main straight. It's just a case of whether or not Riley can hold it together with the last 2 laps to go. Tell you what, it would be interesting. Could see Blumchum on the podium here. Hinderboy is really starting to struggle with those tyres for sure. He's only 1.3 seconds behind. It'd be really good to see the Haas driver on the podium. See, it's all still pretty tight within the midfield, however. So we've still got Murph in 5th, ZGS in 6th, Preston Mixer in 7th, and Trem in 8th. But unfortunately, both of those drivers do have 3-second penalties. So that's going to become a bit of that's going to have a bit of an impact. So just going to keep an eye on that. As I just move down the list, you can just see that Albert and Willis have just changed places. Oh, there looks to be a little bit of contact there between him and Error 6 as well. And you see Trem is now just overtaken Preston Mixer for 7th. Now, they've both got penalties, so it's just a case that only got 3 seconds. So that is for track position, as long as it stays that way. Just see another lock-up from ZGS just further in front. He's also on some pretty worn tyres. Just see here that Dunners is still keeping to the back of Riley. Riley doesn't have any ERS either. So both of which have sort of already used half the tools at the disposal. He's not going to have a go coming into turn 1, but he's running out of laps. He's got to do this now. If he doesn't do it now, this is going to be a Riley finish as a P1 again this week. This is his last chance, I think. He's got to do it coming down this turn. If he's going to make it, he's got to make it now. Hinderboy does look like he's going to hold on to this 3rd place, though, however. He's not going to be able to take it. Tell you what, it looks like Riley's going to be able to take this one again. Very well raced again from him. Took advantage of a mistake from Dunners and Hinderboy. Well, they were so busy fighting, they didn't see the AlphaTauri just scream on down the inside. So, just going to stay with this fight just to the end then. As you can just see, Riley's just going to take it home on the last corner. Nice and comfortable. No pressure whatsoever. He's done really well. He's done it again. Starts 11th. Finishes 1st. Dunners in a very good 2nd place. Hinderboy has managed to make those tyres go 12 laps. And he's managed to sit there 3rd on the podium. Well done to him. Blumchum in 4th. I know he started in the top 2, but let's be honest, he's in a car that's really lacking compared to a lot of the other realistic cars on here. So 4th place is really well done from him. Number 5 is going to be PT5 Stories Murph. ZGS doing 10 laps on his tyres, and again, not too bad at all. Done well to keep those going. Trem, although he dropped down to I think P10th, he managed to fight his way back up into 7th, so not the points he was wanting or potentially expecting, but he's done himself no harm there with 7th place. Driver of the day is Riley, and actually, to be honest with you, I'm actually going to give my driver of the day to Blumchum for this one. He's in a completely inferior car to the rest of the pack, and he's done really well to get it into P4. So although Riley has done really well, and I appreciate that, he won it last week, so I imagine he won't complain. But definitely going to give it to Blumchum today. That was a solid drive from him. So we won't tally up all the scores until next week. So when I start the stream next week, I'll let everyone know in terms of where we're currently sitting. But as you can imagine, it's Racing Point and the AlphaTauri who are again stealing the headlines for this week. So I'll just run through the list very quickly. So we've got Aaron in first place after starting 11th on the grid, followed by Dunners and the Racing Point. You then got Hinderboy in third, who's done really well to get 12 laps out of softs on a 25% race. It's pretty impressive. Followed by Blumchummer in fourth. So can't give it to him every week. Can't give it to him every week, Tom. You know. And look, if you wanna send him a driver of the day like award, be my guest, mate. Be my guest. But I want to keep it interesting here. Blumchummer's definitely my choice for driver of the day in the second race. Did really well to hold it together. And you know what? Unfortunate not to get a podium out of it, to be honest. But anyway, carried on. So you got ZGS in 6th, Trem in 7th, Preston Mixer in 8th, Willis in 9th, and Alba in 10th. I send him an Audi beer for Monday. But you talk about him like he's one of your favourites, but he's only worth an Audi beer. Is that all he's worth? Audi beer. And let's be honest, he prefers ale. Come on, mate. God. Meant to be friends, you don't even know what he likes. Right, so last but not least is the Destruction Derby. Now, some people may not even think of this as any different after their last couple of races, i.e. Trem might potentially feel the same here. But last but not least, we're going to have a Demolition Derby. Now, 5 laps, straight out. I believe it's random grids. Any rules sort of go, really. It's kind of like the equivalent of prison rules for football. The only rules that are in place will be that cars just have to stick. They still have to stick into the corner cutting rules, so there will still be penalties for that. They do Audi beer on Mondays, don't they? Trying different beers. Oh, is that what it is? It is actually Audi beers and ales, is it? Right, okay. Well, I'll let you have that one. Just thought an Audi beer is, you know, is a bit less for the posh boy that you're becoming. I mean, you are an old man now as well. Let's be fair. 30 years old. Whoa, that's horrible. That is. Right, so they're just going to be setting up the grid. It looks like a couple of drivers are already ready to go, which is good. To be honest with you, I'm never really sure how to even talk about this one. It's all a bit of a crazy one. What I will say, though, is the racing points between the two of them have managed to get 27 points. So they would have nullified the first session's results. So I would imagine the gap will be very similar to what it is at the moment. So looking at the standings at the moment, the difference is 18 points. So I would imagine it'll be something similar. It'll be about 50. It might be about 16, 17 next week. So at least it keeps the dream alive as a close championship. In terms of the feature race, though, this will put Riley further up the pack. In terms of, unfortunately, because there is no Butters this week, that win from Aaron will put him close to the top. I wouldn't be surprised, actually. How many points they've separated by? I believe Dunners will be leading next week by 1 point in the sprint race championship. Butters will potentially drop down to third. But the McLarens will still be sitting in third and fourth, so still have a strong bit there. So they'll probably still keep third place in the Constructors' Championship. In terms of the Racing Point and AlphaTauri, like I said, 17 points difference or 18 points difference. It's going to be very tight. It's not really going to see much change there. But that might change next week, though, when hopefully James Punt will be back and Butters will also be back. So they can both try and assist each other in scoring some more points for that. Unfortunately, the Ferraris aren't overscoring because, again, you've got Preston Mixon on his own. Got a few other drivers and stuff which are the same. So Blumchum, I think, with the Haas. Don't know who else is in the Haas, actually. Who is in the Haas? Your guess will be as good as mine, I think. Right, so we're just about ready to get underway. So the session's just going to start now. So it's a bit carnage, just a bit of a way to let people let out some frustrations. Obviously, some of the racing didn't go everyone's way today, unless you are Riley or maybe Dunners as well. But pretty solid days today. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens here. Must admit, I am very excited for next week, though. As I said before, Melbourne, Australia. I haven't seen a stream or raced in that either on a Monday, so I haven't seen Australia come up for a while, which is weird because whenever you start a career on Formula One, Australia is always the first race in the calendar. I think this year they will be going to Australia, but I think they're not going for a little while. Right. Well, to be honest, I'm not really going to talk too much about the racing in this one because it's more of a demolition derby than it is a race. There are still points, etc., to be won, but they do not affect any of the standings in things like the constructors, etc. It's like a separate event just for the guys. And let's be honest, no one really cares if they win the destruction derby, do they? So as you can see already, they're all just going to be flying down the straight lines. Just see the Red Bulls getting away nicely. So yeah, sort of all rolls bars. You can do as much hitting, you can do as much so there's no turning, you can do as much weaving as you want. As you see, everyone just flying everywhere. So I mean, while people can't make the apex and they're not making any turns, you can see Albert's not deciding to join in. He just wants to get on his merry way. As you can just see, Preston Mixer just spinning out a little bit there as well. What I'm just going to talk about is the Slydog Racing League. So there is, if you guys keep an eye on the Facebook page, there is a Facebook page for which there are posts and there are live streams on there. We are starting to look to see whether or not we could maybe do some new content. Myself and Aaron are maybe looking at doing a career mode because of the fact on the 2021 campaign you're able to do career mode as co-op now, which is a really interesting aspect for me. One of the reasons why I'm very excited to get this game. So what we're going to do is potentially do a my team or something like that, start from the back, see if we can work our way forward. The only thing I will say is that, as unfortunately for me, Aaron is a slightly better driver than myself, to say the least, so I'll have to get used to being stuck behind him, but we'll see what happens. You never know, I might suddenly improve. But yeah, that'll be very interesting to say the least. So we're looking at doing that. But if you guys have anything you want to talk about, or anything you've got to say, anything you'd like to see in terms of content-wise, just send us a message on the Slydog Racing channel and Facebook page. Just type it in, it'll be nice and easy to find. Or if not, any of you that know me, you can always come and find me instead. But yeah, we keep monitoring the chat day in, day out. There's 20, 30 drivers that obviously enjoy this league on a weekly basis, on a Monday and a Thursday. So we are looking at special guests, but like I said before, I'm asking for a special guest. But who is your special guest? You're going to have to tell me who you'd like to be on the channel. Albert's not getting involved in this demolition derby whatsoever. He is 9 seconds in front, storming ahead. Just wants to get some good points on the board, really, I imagine. But let's have a little look here, just to see what is going on. Yeah, I'll go on the Twitter page, mate, and see if I can get Lando to see if he wants to join in for a quick little interview. You never know, I might be able to get him racing. No huge amount of battles going on here. Everyone seems to be all over the place at the minute, but that's probably due to the several amounts of carnage, is what I want to say. Why not? He's a lad. Do you know him personally, do you, mate? Anything you want to share with the class? Lando Norris, personal friend? So if that's the case, you've been hiding that very well, buddy. Oh, so it's very interesting. As you see, Trem finds himself in 4-4. Trem getting right out of the way there, thinking that Riley was going to completely send him on the inside. This goes a bit wide. Oh well, let me know what he says, mate. If he's up for it. Bless him. I thought that was for the line, you know. Oh, Riley's having fun there, isn't he? Looks like Albert has come home in first, and Murph looks like he's going to be following him second. And Dunners, who's been very solid all week, well, I say all week, all session tonight, I should say. He's going to be bringing it home in third. Blumchum with his career best 4th place finish, as he achieved earlier today. And then Trem looks like he's going to be coming home in 5th. Ballsy in 6th. Wilson 7th. Riley down in 8th. By the way, I'm taking that as a beer, by the way, Tom. Just so you know, he's definitely not the top 3. He's let you down there, mate. Just saying. Well, I mean, we could ask him to see if he could chase Granty Boy. I'd like to see them two go at it, but yeah, I can't imagine. I wouldn't want to know what that would look like. That'd be horrible, wouldn't it? I think Granty Boy wins enough without another person coming in just to take him over and do exactly the same. Oh, too much. So that is pretty much the session for today. Thanks everyone for joining me and the rest of you guys on the chat. I always appreciate the comments from everybody, unless your name's Tom Keeley. You can go fuck yourself. All you are is a giant pain in my arse. So obviously don't have to do any driver of the day for this, but obviously I'm only joking, Tom. Don't take that to heart, buddy. So yeah, I'm going to leave you on that note, everybody. Thank you very much again for joining. I've said it already, but I'm going to say it again. Some unfortunate accidents in the first couple of laps, ruining a few people's races today, mainly being Trem seems to be the one on the end. But yeah, very well good performance from Aaron Riley, sitting himself on the top position both in the feature and the sprint race. Gonna have a shout out to Hingy Boy as well for getting another podium today, somehow making Soft's last 12 laps in a 14 lap race. Very impressive indeed. Dunners has also done himself proud today, getting himself another 2nd place. I think ZGS would have had a better weekend if it wasn't for the fact of maybe just extending his pits a little bit too long, allowing for the people on the fresh rubber just to make up the gains that he potentially made in the race. But I'm sure he'll be back next week and he'll go stronger. Well done on Error as well. Good couple of points finishes today. So very solid indeed. And Willis for getting driver of the day as well. Very solid race in, I think it was on the 2nd race, going from 8th to 4th. Anyway, I'm going to leave you on that note. Everyone, have a good evening and good night.